today's relaxed selection is A Horse with No Name by America. And when they released their self-titled LP in the early 70s, the song A Horse with No Name wasn't on the LP in Europe. They were staying at the time, of all places, at the house of Arthur Brown. Remember The Crazy World of Arthur Brown? Fire! Ba, 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 that guy. And they wrote the song and included it on the re-release of the LP, which was intended for North American audiences as well. It's sort of a recollection of the images that Dewey Bunnell remembers traveling around the desert with his parents as an Air Force brat when he was younger, and they traveled through all that scenic country. So a lot of images come to mind. We're going to teach you a really nice, easy garage band version of A Horse with No Name. All right, one of my favorite America songs, and one of the easiest to play. When America wrote this song and produced it, they used a strange tuning that they never used in any other songs. From the sixth string down to the first string, it was tuned D, E, D, G, B, D. Kind of a drop D tuning, but a couple of different notes in there as well. And really an oddball tuning. And what that did was cause the simple chords like an E minor that we know simply how to play like this to be played in a different finger arrangement. They only did it for the one song. We're not going to do that. We're going to play it in a more traditional manner. A lot of websites out there will show you that it's a two-chord song. An E minor and a D6 add 9 chord. I'm going to just add a little bit of spice to that because there clearly is that F sharp note added in the song. So what I've done is I've given you two additional chords to make it a 4-chord song that I think add a little spice and make this a much more interesting song to play. I think it sounds better, and I think you'll be able to handle it. So let's get on with the chords you need. Okay, the beautiful thing about the chords you need in this song are that you're going to use the same two fingers to finger all 4 of them. Now, if we were limiting this to 2 chords, you'd only have to move your fingers back and forth like this all song. I've added a little bit more to it. It toughens it up a little bit, but I think it makes it a better song. So the first chord you need, and these are the 2 fingers you're going to use for the whole lesson here, for the whole song, your second and third fingers. We're going to play an open E minor. And then we're going to move to a chord that's in the D family. What you're going to do is you're going to take your third finger and move it down here to the A note on the G string, the 3rd fret of the G string, and you're going to take your second finger and move it up, or down if you like. We always get mixed up here talking about up or down because of course we're going down in pitch, but up on the neck. So we move that to the F sharp note on the 6th string. Okay, so now we end up the two notes that were in the E minor chord are now open, and we move these fingers, this one down, this one up. We can strum all 6 strings, and that's a D6 add 9. So we've got the E minor, the D6 add 9, and then we're going to get that F sharp in there up on the high E string that one of the guitarists in America played. So the 2 notes you're going to finger this time, you're going to move this one back from the F sharp to the B note, and then your third finger is going to go all the way down to this F sharp up high. And that's an E minor 9 chord, and I think it really helps change the tone of this song where it needs to change. And your final chord, and this one is, this is a Jackson Mace special, I suppose, but I really like it in here, is a D major 9 chord. So imagine that you're playing the E minor here, that formation, and just move that picture down to the 2nd and 3rd strings. D major 9. Okay, so the 4 chords again. E minor, D6 add 9, E minor 9, D major 9. Now let's talk about the most important part of this song, the strumming. All right, we had a little bit of a audio problem there, but I think we fixed it. Again, the most important part of the song is the strumming pattern. If you capture this strumming pattern, you capture the feel of A Horse with No Name. And then when you add those kind of mystic desert lyrics, you really have a very, very cool song. So here's the strumming pattern that applies throughout the song, but in this case we're applying it to E minor and D6 add 9. So let's break that down. We're going to start with a strum down on the E minor chord and then a muted slap. If you're not sure how to do that, you just kind of, as you're strumming, you're also laying the heel of your hand across the strings here. Like so. And that's followed by a up, down on the E minor. So now we transition to the D6 add 9 chord, and when I do that I tend to have one strum, in this case it's an up strum, that is just open strings. With this hand, what I'm doing is I'm moving from the E minor to the D6 add 9, and I have that one strum in there that's kind of, as my fingers are moving, it's an open strum. So we'll call it an open strum, meaning my fingers aren't anywhere. They're moving. Kind of a way of cheating, but it also doesn't hurt the song at all. Okay, so we have, there's the open strum. Now we're on the D6 add 9, and it's, so it's down, up, open, and then the E minor. So again, from the start, up, D6 9, down, up, open, down, back into the pattern. Really slow for you now. Strumming for A Horse with No Name. Just before we move into a verse progression and practice that, I thought I'd show you that strumming so that you can see my left hand as well, and you can see when the fingers are off. So we'll do it really slow, just like we just did, but with you able to see both hands. I'm exaggerating the lift off of the fingers there. Obviously, you're just going to lift them off ever so slightly just to make that change between those two chords. I'm exaggerating it so that you can see where that open strum is, and I hope that helps. All right, let's work our way through the intro and the verse progression for A Horse with No Name. And we're going to begin with that E minor D6 add 9 combination. We're going to play through that twice before the vocal starts, like so. Part of the journey. And it plays through that E minor D6 add 9 4 times. Then the little F sharp note enters the song. And it enters the song right after that bass line comes in. At the end of "There were sand and hills and rings," boom, 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 boom. That really cool bass line, and that's just where the song picks up a bit. And that's where we hear that F sharp note for the first time. So instead of playing E minor, D6 add 9 there, we're going to play E minor 9, D6 add 9, 4 times through, and that'll take us through the end of the verse. So with the chords on the screen and vocals, here's the progression for a verse. Okay, well, next we get to the chorus, which includes I've been through the desert on a horse with no name, and then the la 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 part. And we're going to play this chord progression 8 times through, 4 times through with the lyrical part, and then 4 times through with the la la las. And the chord sequence we're going to use is E minor 9 and D major 7. And again, this is sort of my contribution to this version, my arrangement of this song. I think it does a couple of things. It's a neat sounding chord, it fits in really nicely, and it also provides a bit of a change in the song. So when you go back to the second verse, you're back to... If you played that the entire song with no variation, you're welcome to do that, but I think it would be far less interesting than switching to this. Which I think matches the vocal very nicely. So let's play through that with vocals, the chorus section with the la la las. 1, 2, 3.
I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red.
Okay, let's tackle a little bit of this instrumental break in the song. I can't give you all of it because it's 3 different guitars playing in America. But we can do is give you the background, which is just this straight verse chording. Times through, and that's going to give us enough time to play that instrumental break. However, it kicks in with a little bit of a pause and then a really neat bass line. I can show it to you if you happen to have a bass player handy. It's like this. Okay, so it's what we're doing there is picking 6 and 5 strings, hammering on the F sharp, playing the open A, same thing with the, exactly the same thing, except starting on the A string, hammering the B, going up to the open D. And then we play this. The last triplet is B, and you could take your finger off and play the open D, but it doesn't sound as good as hammering up to this D, and then the E note here. That's a little bass line that kicks you into the guitar solo, which I'm going to play nice and slowly for you here so you can follow this up. Now you are going to have to practice this so you can play it at speed. The scale coming down it's faster than that, and that's pretty fast. So you're going to have to work on that a little bit. But the start of it is just a whole sequence of playing around with this scale and these notes in this scale. So we're going to play this. This is the start of it. So we're just going from open to 2 to 3 to 5. And the picking is just alternate picking. And the second little bit is so it goes from 5 down to 2, up to 3, back to open. So again, putting those two bits together. And then we're going to go through this little sequence of notes. So 2, 3, 5, 3, 5, 7, and we end up on 7. So to put those two pieces together, you can practice that a few times if you like. Then it goes right up to the 12th fret and just kind of plays that. So that's actually 24 little pick strokes, 8 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, etc. And it's 24 altogether. And then we play this sequence. Let's follow that down. That's 12, 10, 9, 10, 9, 7, 9, 7, 5, 7, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2, 3, 2, open, 2, open, 3 of the second string, open, 3, open, E minor. Again, sped up a little bit. Now, while that's being played, the second guitar is playing, I believe it starts way up. It's going to have trouble on acoustic with this. Way up at the A note here. It's the same progression down, but starts on the A note way up here. And then the third guitar just plays all the way through it. So you put those 3 parts together and you get the little instrumental break. All played to 4 measures of that. All right, fine tuning for A Horse with No Name. Well, after the instrumental section we just worked on, the arrangement is as follows. It heads into the final verse of the song, then the final chorus along with the final la-las. That sequence, normally we play through that twice. La, 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 end right there. The studio recording actually goes on to play that 8 times through, and then eventually fades. It just goes on and on with the la-las. I'm going to suggest this. La, 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 la. Hear that difference in that end chord? Instead of the D major 9, we're playing a D major 7, and it looks like this. Pretty simple. Just flatten your finger across the second fret of strings 1, 2, and 3. What a great ending chord to A Horse with No Name. Hey, we've been through the desert with America. We'll see you next time on Song Mentor.